Hi Papercrafters, welcome to my channel for Minecraft paper figures. As you probably saw in the thumbnail and title, today I'm bringing you a brand new articulated model that's awesome. These are the materials we'll need for this project. And as you can see, I'm already printing the template to get started. Now we're going to cut out each piece with scissors, but careful, this isn't the final cut yet. Here we're just cutting roughly, leaving a few millimeters of space around the figures. That's because later we'll glue them onto cardstock, and only then will we make the final cuts. So don't worry about following the exact edge yet. Just cut like you see on screen. Great, we have all the pieces roughly cut. Now we're going to glue them onto cardstock to make them sturdier. But heads up, the pieces that become the little tubes, we won't glue those yet. Set them aside. I'll explain later why those are done differently. For now, focus on the other pieces just like you see on screen. Okay, let's start gluing the pieces onto the cardstock. First up is the head, one of the most important parts of the figure. Next, I glue one of the legs. Don't worry if you can't see the other one on camera. Both are glued the same way. Then we move on to the torso, making sure it's well glued to the cardstock. After that, I glue one of the arms. Speaking of arms, I'm also gluing one here. Remember, we also have an extra piece for the interchangeable arm. And finally, we glue the head tube. Now we're going to cut again, but this time leaving a small margin, a few millimeters from the edge of each piece. I do this so when we make the final, exact cuts, it's much easier to follow the lines without mistakes. That way we avoid cutting an important part of the design and make sure all pieces keep their shape and look clean. This step is optional, but I always do it because it saves time later and gives the whole project a neater finish. Now we'll cut right along the edges, starting with the head piece. This step is more precise, so take your time and follow the lines carefully. I'll let you watch the process slowly now. For this part, we use a craft knife, since we need a more precise cut. Remember to be very careful when using sharp tools. With that done, we move on. Now we'll carefully cut the circular lines on the torso with the craft knife. As you can see, I work on top of a piece of cardboard so I don't damage my work table. That's always recommended when using sharp blades. These circular lines are divided into several sections, so you must follow them precisely. When we finish cutting, we use a wooden stick to check that the arm tube fits in without difficulty. This step is key so the character's joints move correctly. Now we prepare the interchangeable arm, the one that will hold the sword or pickaxe. First, we use the craft knife to open the area a bit, since it's a tight spot and scissors won't reach directly. Once that's done, we carefully trim with scissors, following the edges patiently. This step is important so the shape is clean and the swords or pickaxes fit. Now we continue with the legs. We carefully cut the tabs that are on the edges. These tabs hide the seams when assembled, so everything looks much cleaner. It's a small step, but it makes a big difference in the final result. Even though I only show one leg, the other is done exactly the same. In the end, both are ready for assembly. Here we have a tube before cutting, and now after cutting. I didn't film that step because it's very simple. In this part 1, cut one of the tubes on camera. The process repeats several times, so one demonstration is enough. And here are all the tubes cut, along with the circles that will be glued to each one. Now we're going to fold the pieces. To make crisp, precise folds, I use a ruler. This helps a lot, especially on small parts or pieces with many tabs. Take your time here. If the folds are sloppy, assembly becomes harder. As you can see, I place the ruler over the fold line and carefully push up. That way the tab is well defined and straight. I use this trick on almost every piece with folds because it saves time and gives a cleaner finish. Now for the special arm that holds objects like a sword or pickaxe. Here you have to fold some tiny tabs inside the arm. I don't use the ruler because the space is too small and it would make things harder. Carefully fold those tabs with your fingers or the tip of the scissors. It's important to do this well so the arm fits correctly. Now we start making the tubes that will act as the character's arms. First, I take this strip of paper and begin rolling it very carefully. Make sure there are no gaps. Press firmly with your fingers and rotate slowly so it rolls evenly and tight. It might seem simple, but it's essential for the arm to work properly. Now comes the tube that will slide. This one is special. Instead of rolling it on its own, I assemble it directly over the previous tube so it matches the size perfectly and can move without sticking. After rolling it well, I glue it carefully and check that it can slide in and out without problems. This step is super important for movement. If you do it wrong, it might get stuck. Now we close the tubes. For that, I use the small circles that glue onto the tabs. I fold the tabs outward and apply a bit of glue. Once it's dry, I trim the excess tab pieces with scissors. This keeps the arms and legs working properly when one tube needs to slide inside another. And done. Now we move on to the legs. At this point, I have all the pieces cut, so I start gluing the tabs on one side. I go patiently, line by line, making sure the edge aligns with the shape. This is important so the leg keeps its square shape and doesn't warp. Then I press a little with my fingers so the glue adheres well and doesn't come loose. When I finish gluing the sides, I can close the piece. I put glue on the final tab and join it to the other end. I press firmly so it doesn't open. And that's how one leg looks completely closed. Here I show you both legs assembled. As you can see, they're symmetrical and sturdy. Now we insert the tubes into the legs. First, I take the wider tube, the one with the hole in the center, and carefully insert it into the leg until it's aligned. It's important that the circles stay outside, as you can see on screen, because they act as stoppers and give strength to the joint. Then I take the thinner tube and insert it into the center of the thicker tube. I push gently until it goes all the way through. Now we move on to the arms. First, we glue only one flap. This is important because it leaves room for the tube that moves the arm to slide in without problems. Then with a wooden stick or toothpick, we open the hole in the arm so everything fits perfectly. Once that's done, we glue the inside part of the arm as shown here. Then we reinforce the joint with a little hot glue so it stays secure and doesn't come apart with movement. And that's it. This is how this part looks when it's finished. As you can see, it fits easily inside the tube. Now we carefully glue the small mini tabs that this special arm has. These little pieces let it hold objects and move more stably. Press them well so they don't peel off later. I recommend using white glue or regular, cold craft glue for these so they stay firm and don't bend while drying. In this part we leave it open like before so we can insert the tube that will make the joint. If we don't leave that space, the arm won't move properly. And here I show you how it looks ready for the tube, although you already saw this process earlier in the video. Now we continue with the torso. First we glue each side patiently so it forms a nice square and doesn't end up crooked. Finally, we close the last flap and press a bit so it seals well. This is how the torso looks fully assembled. Here you can see the head disassembled and assembled, and the head tube too. It's already formed and ready to be glued. No need to explain those steps. Now we begin the final assembly. First I use the hot glue gun to attach the tube that will hold the head so it stays firm. Now we let the hot glue harden completely. Next I apply glue to the rounded tabs at the bottom of the torso. And attach both legs, making sure they're straight. Then we move on to the arms. First I place the thicker one with the special hole, and then the thinner one. As you can see, they go in easily. Finally, we press the head on a bit. And there you go, the figure is fully finished. And done. These are the figures I built with so much effort. Here you can see Steve with several joints, a creeper with Steve's head, a zombie, and the articulated Steve we made together in this video. If you like this project, tell me in the comments which figure you'd like me to make in the next tutorial. This is my first video on the channel, so it would help me a lot if you subscribe and share. Thanks for watching. See you soon with more paper figures you can make at home. Until next time.